From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Working into the early hours of this morning, the Alaska House of Representatives passed their version of an FY17 statewide operating budget that shaves 10% from the current year's spending levels for day-to-day government services.
The budget also reduces overall unrestricted general fund spending by 7%. The budget now resides with the Senate, where Finance Committee members have promised deeper cuts. Once the budget clears the Senate, legislators plan to turn greater attention to revenue bills that could help cover costs. The budget passed by the House 24-14 just after 3 o'clock this morning totals about $8.7 billion in all funds. North Representative Tammy Wilson voted in favor of passage, while Representative David Gutenberg of Fairbanks voted against it.
There's things on the table that we haven't addressed in this budget that are big, that the legislature hasn't addressed at all either. And they're hard decisions. They're tough decisions. They're also cost effective, and they're also economy building. This is just a budget. We could have done more to do those things.
This is just the first step, Mr. Speaker. Now the question is, who pays? Or can we step it down, or have we stepped it down far enough to where we can actually get to a sustainable level?
The Alaska Outdoor Council is holding its annual conference at Pikes Lodge. It started today and runs through Saturday. One of the speakers at the event is John Sturgeon, who filed suit against the federal government about an incident that occurred about 10 years ago. He was moose hunting on a river that crosses the Yukon-Charlie Rivers National Preserve and was told by federal officers that he was operating an illegal watercraft. They said he would be cited if he didn't move immediately. The lawsuit challenged National Park Service jurisdiction in the preserve. Sturgeon lost his case twice in federal court, then appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court. That hearing was held and a decision is expected this summer. Sturgeon says he has no idea what the outcome might be.
You know, it's hard to guess. The only thing I can say is that we did everything we possibly could to prepare for the case. I think that things sounded good to me, but they said you've got to be careful because you can't tell by the questions. We really are in the right here. You read the statute, you read especially the congressional intent, the discussions about what this Section 103 is supposed to do. It is beyond crystal clear. And so I'm optimistic, but you don't know.
Now the other question.
A decision from is expected to be released by the first part of June. We will monitor the action and report the verdict when it is announced.
Borough Assembly members voted in favor of an ordinance that allows Mayor Carl Castle to take over operations at the Carlson Center. Castle says taking over the activity center entirely is a worst-case scenario. Ryan Grimes has the story.
Necessarily if we came to agreement with SMG on a contract, but it does mean if we want to keep in-house management as a viable option, we need to get that going fairly soon.
Castle says the allowance of over $470,000 for purchasing and the ability to hire over 11 administrative positions at the Carlson Center would give him a good bargaining chip for negotiations with SMG of Alaska. SMG has recently come under fire for subsidizing over $1.3 million from the borough, with the anticipation that future subsidies would increase.
If we can get more revenue and eventually start making this not have a subsidy, good for us. But the road we're on is, as the mayor said, an ever-increasing subsidy.
Assemblyman Lance Roberts was the only person to oppose the ordinance.
I certainly don't want to be responsible for the borough bloating up, especially right now when everyone's making cuts all over the place. Just because we can pencil on paper that somehow it'll save us money, I think most of us involved with government know the reality of it.
Castle says if negotiations break down with SMG this summer, the borough will be able to run the facility.
I'm trying to have insurance policy built into this ordinance to make sure we don't fail. And I don't intend to use all those positions, but it would make me sleep better at night if I had them. That's where we're coming from. We anticipate 8.5. That's our best guess today.
This is Ryan Grimes reporting.
When we come back, budget cuts could be responsible for 3 people losing their jobs with the borough air quality program.
Also, the U.S. Senate recently overwhelmingly voted to support a program that helps users of opioids. We'll tell you what that means locally. Stay with us.
And welcome back. In bipartisan fashion, the state Senate passed a bill designed to overhaul Alaska's Medicaid system today. Senate Bill 74 is sponsored by Senator Pete Kelly of Fairbanks, who says it will provide better care at a lower cost. Kelly says the Alaska Department of Health and Social Services has calculated that savings from the reform would reach $33 million in the first year of implementation and up to $113 million by FY 2022. Anticipated savings come from reducing the number of unnecessary emergency room visits, encouraging increased use of primary care, reducing improper usage of opioids, eliminating user fraud, and increasing access to telemedicine. SB 74 passed unanimously on the Senate floor and now heads to the House for consideration.
Skeptical that we could all come together on a Medicaid reform bill, but I think this is a pretty good bill, Mr. President.
The heart and the philosophy of the bill was to not restrict access to the people who needed it, but to reform a system that was broken. So we put the pressure on the system, not the patients.
Mayor Castle says the borough could be laying off 3 full-time air quality monitors due to the loss of grant funding this summer. But he also says the borough air quality program would not change much as a result. The state of Alaska is required by federal law to regulate air quality. On that note, Castle told the assembly that data collection would still occur. However, Castle said that he was not willing to take the money out of the borough general fund for 3 staff members to accomplish air quality monitoring when the state should be paying it out of pocket. Castle adds that the 3 air quality monitors are set to be laid off on July 1st, depending on how state legislators respond.
So there are some options on the table. I mean, the state could see if they could come up with more revenue to send to us. They could also hire people, the people we're laying off, to do the job. So there are other options on the table, but for now it looks like we are planning on having a 3 FTE reduction.
Alaska U.S. Senator Lisa Murkowski voted in favor of the Comprehensive Addiction and Recovery Act, which supports community-based drug treatment programs and provides critical resources for those battling opioid addiction. The bill, which she introduced, passed the Senate by a vote of 94-1. The use of heroin has become a nationwide epidemic, and Alaska is not exempt. The Alaska Department of Health and Social Services reported that rates for inpatient hospitalizations for heroin poisoning have nearly doubled between 2008 and 2012, and the number of patients admitted to substance abuse treatment increased from 58% to 74% for patients between 21 and 29 years of age. The number of heroin-related deaths more than tripled between 2008 and 2013 for a total of 72.
I always like to think that Alaska, because we are so far away, we are so remote, that perhaps we might be insulated from some of the negative aspects of just this modern society. And in fact, we cannot isolate, we cannot insulate ourselves from the scourge of the drugs and the drug addiction that we are seeing.
The leaders of the United States and Canada are seeking to curb methane emissions by undertaking regulations that would target oil and gas production. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and President Barack Obama committed to reducing methane emissions from the oil and gas sectors over the next decade by at least 40% from 2012 levels. U.S. Senator Lisa Murkowski, who chairs the Senate Energy and National Resources Committee, said the agreement threatens the continued development of oil and gas in the Arctic. U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan says the agreement could be particularly devastating to Alaska at a time when the state is experiencing a budget crisis, adding that if the initiatives are enacted, less oil and gas will be produced in the state, more jobs will be lost, and state coffers will be increasingly diminished.
All right, Joe Cook is up next with sports, including a recap of the first day of the Limited North American Championships.
We'll see if the Nanooks won their playoff game against Michigan Tech.
And a classic in high school hoops.
All of that and more next.
Welcome back, Interior sports fans. Time to get the weekend started with the Friday Sportscast. One of the top sprint mushing events started today in the Interior. The Animated Limited North American Championships had their first day of races at the Jeff Studdard Racing Grounds off of Farmers Loop Road. Greg Zurich, Pam Chamber, and Don Brown are leading the 2-dog ski drawer, 4- and 6-dog classes so far. This is 8-dog class action here. Evelyn Beater was the first musher in and posted a time of 34 minutes, 37 seconds for second place. Carl Earhart was the second to finish, and he has a 36:08 time, good enough for fourth. Defending champ Jerry Woods passed Mike Tesner on the back end to finish in third place at 34:53. But Karosh Partel had the top time today after finishing second in the 6-dog class. He cruised to a 32:32 finish as the 8-dog leader despite the warm temps.
Coming from Chugiak area, our weather is a little bit warmer than here, of course. They don't like warm weather, but they've been training in warm weather in the past, so it's not unusual for them.
I'm just happy with the dogs. You know, it's warm. They know the trail now, so should be good. Another tough day tomorrow. Hope it cools down a little bit.
Ali Zirkle was the first musher into Galena today. This is the musher who arrived after her, who has the lead. Brent Sass of Eureka was in Galena for 5 minutes and left at 11:45 this morning. He said to Nolado with 14 dogs. Crazy stat for Sass. Outside of his 24-hour rest, he hasn't stayed in a checkpoint for more than 12 minutes so far. Zirkle checked into Galena at 10:46 a.m. with 15 dogs. Mitch CV is also in Galena. He checked in at 2:45 this afternoon. Nora Burmeister and Robert Sorley complete the top 5 as they are headed for Galena as well. In Houghton, Michigan, the Alaska Nanooks faced off against the Michigan Tech Huskies for Game 1 of the WCHA quarterfinals. Alaska trailed 1-5 in the second period. They came back to tie in their last series, but the Huskies, they were ready for the comeback this time as they win 7-1. Tyler Morley scored for Alaska. The Nooks need to win Game 2 on Saturday to force a Game 3 on Sunday. The Alaska ski and rifle teams will need to rally after the first day of their NCAA finals. Today in Akron, Ohio, the rifle team is in 4th place after small bore. Tim Sherry and Soren Butler were the top shooters for UAF with a 580 and 579. West Virginia is first, followed by TCU and Murray State. They will shoot air rifle tomorrow. In Colorado, UAF's Anatina Marxette was the first CCSA skier in the 5K race. She placed 14th overall to lead Sarissa Lammers and Nicole Baith for UAF, who also placed in the top 25. Mike Fehrenbach was 37th, respectively, in the men's 10K race representing UAF. In the second round, the Aurora Girls Tournament pitted the number 2 Hutchinson Hawks and number 3 Galena Hawks. It was a classic as we go to the hardwood. After a series of runs from both teams, Galena led 37-26 at halftime, led by Romeo Harris, who had a game-high 24 points. In the third quarter, Hutchinson outscores Galena 15-4, erasing an 11-point deficit. They tied it up 41-41 on a Tia Titus 3. She had 10 points. Hutch was up 48-47 with 20 seconds left and missed a free throw. Galena goes down court, and there's a scramble after a missed shot, but Galena will get the ball with the second left. They draw the foul at the buzzer, and Courtney Carlo goes to the line and calmly hits both free throws, sending Galena to the Aurora title game with a 49-48 win over Hutch.
I just got back to all the free throws we did in practice and just like try to zone out the crowd and everything. And just focus on my follow through and my shot. That water definitely calmed me down. I know that my team was going to be there for me, whether I made them or not, and that just soothed me.
I can't think of a better way for a senior to ice a game going into the championship. All credit to Hutch. That was Alaska girls basketball at its best.
And in the other girls semifinal, number 1 seed Valdez took on number 5 Allison, who in Allison they beat Monroe in the first round to advance to this game. The teams traded buckets in the early going, but Valdez, they went on a 15-0 run and led 20-5 in the first quarter. Bobby Mott was hot. She won a solo 7-0 run, and she had 20 points at halftime. Shelby McCann, she led Allison with 10 points as the Ravens tried to make a run, but the Bucks continued to feed Mott, who was as sweet as the applesauce. She finished with a game-high 32 points as Valdez wins 58-32 and go to the Aurora title game against Galena.
It felt pretty good. I was super excited from the beginning. We all were pretty hyped, and we just wanted to come out and kill it. We always start off slow. We just want to come out and do like we did today and just not start off slow and just kill it.
There were some pretty incredible plays in this week's I-5, but after counting the votes, the people have spoken. The play of the week comes courtesy of Lathrop senior guard Gabriel Howard. Despite a 2-point loss to Wasilla last Friday night, Howard gets a steal and goes coast to coast, sidestepping defenders on his way to the hoop for the score. Gabe Deuce Howard's steal and coast to coast play is the play of the week. To pick the next POTW, watch the I-5 Interior Top 5 plays on Mondays during the weekend recap. And that's it for sports tonight. Thanks for watching. Mike Schultz is next with your weekend weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back into a Friday night edition of Weather. Mike Schultz with you once again. And it wasn't too bad today. Overcast skies for the most part. Should be great for the awards ceremony tonight at the ice park. That gets underway at 8 o'clock, and the multi-blocks, I've had a chance to peek at them. They are magnificent. You got to check them out. Tonight we're going to be talking about some interesting things in the weather. First of all, another nice mild evening is in store for all of us here. Tomorrow, more clouds, even a few flakes are possible. And then Sunday, even a little better chance of seeing some snow, but no accumulation is expected. Just a little bit of a change from the weather pattern we've had. As far as numbers go, 36 today's high. How about that? 36 currently. The overnight low last night, 9 above the record high, 47 in 1988, 41 below in 1930. The sunrise and sunset working out to about 11 hours and 20 minutes, a gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. And the satellite and radar shows you why we're looking at possibly a few flakes of snow moving in. There is a bigger batch of moisture moving up from the south, and some of that will work its way through the passes and get into the Fairbanks area, I should say. It is already in the Anchorage area. They're reporting a few light snow showers there too. And more warm temperatures moving across southeast Alaska. How warm? Well, look at today, 46 degrees at Ketchikan. Showers there. Not too bad in Juneau, 42 degrees. Another nice day at Anchorage, just partly cloudy skies, 40 degrees there. 41, showers all day long around the Kodiak area. Cloudy skies at Cold Bay, 38. A little cooler on the north side of the Aleutian chain, 29 degrees at Bethel. Quite a bit cooler at Nome, 18 degrees there. And Barrow at 9 degrees below zero, while Fort Yukon had a high today of 18 above and partly cloudy skies. Lower 48 weather, look at the rain moving on the west coast. They're looking at quite a bit of rainfall there, but it's going to move pretty fast. It's moving out, and yet more rain moving across the southern sections of the country. They don't need this. This is an area of low pressure we've been watching for the last few days. It just is not moving at all. That's helping to bring that strong flow off the Gulf of Mexico. And once again, strong thunderstorms, more heavy rainfall, and folks are just being really forced out of their homes everywhere in Louisiana and Arkansas, and no relief in sight right now. As far as the overall risk, you can see the flood risk from Dallas right on down to Shreveport in Louisiana, New Orleans, and then looking at rapidly rising water, road closures, and river flooding. No chance of any report of any safe folks there. And as you can see on the jet stream for next week, a little bit of a change in the jet stream, a little bit of waviness here, but still to the north. That allows, once again, warmer temperatures to cover a large portion of the country, and the showers will be mainly forced up to the north along the Canadian border. Okay, time for our weather fact for tonight. And in 1989, Lubbock, Texas set their record high for March when they got up to 95 degrees. That's pretty warm for March. You don't expect that very often. As always, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank for sponsoring our kids' weather. And of course, next week we're going to be visiting with the kids from the Northern Lights Academy. Okay, here's your forecast for the Fairbanks, for the Alaska area for tomorrow, for the northern sections. Flurries expected for Barrow, sunny skies for Nome. And snow is likely in Fort Yukon, maybe even a couple inches of snow possible there. Here in the interior, we'll be looking at cloudy skies with isolated snow showers, and the windy conditions will be popping back up again around the Healy area, with just partly cloudy skies expected at Delta Junction. Over the southeastern sections, showers will be diminishing in Juneau, but scattered showers still likely hanging around the Ketchikan area, and temperatures close to 50 degrees at Ketchikan. And as far as southwest part of the state, rain and snow showers for Cold Bay, rain for Kodiak, and partly cloudy for Bethel, while over the south central regions, partly cloudy skies for Anchorage, isolated showers at Homer, and mostly cloudy skies in Valdez. Friday night, time for our winter trails report from the folks at Beaver Sports. We should have another great weekend with very mild temperatures. Ski slopes should be great, as will the cross-country trails. Snow machiners, be extra cautious with all the melting conditions going on. Here's your forecast for tonight. Partly cloudy early, becoming mostly cloudy by midnight, 8 degrees for the overnight low. Tomorrow's forecast, cloudy with isolated snow showers, still 30 degrees. And the 5-day outlook, as you can see here, temperatures cooling down for Monday and Tuesday, and then warming back up again on Wednesday and Thursday. Overnight lows will also be quite mild for this time of year, 5 degrees to 0 degrees. And once again, a reminder, don't forget to set that clock ahead to 2 o'clock when you need to set it on Sunday morning or Saturday night when you go to bed. Here's our picture for tonight. Last night's auroras, I didn't see them. I was up till 1 o'clock, I didn't see them. They must have come in earlier or later on, I should say. Again, from Tom Schneider, thank you. And photos at ktbf11.com if you have one you want to share.
All right, we have run out of time. We'll see you back here at 11. Good night.